Hi. My name is Uni. You probably know me best as Yumi. I used to do a bunch of anime editing and stuff like that, but I kind of stopped because I got busy with high school and stuff. So I kind of want to give an update. I'm a high school senior now. It's been an incredibly long journey, especially with COVID and stuff. So, hi. Formally, I'm Uni. I'm from the Midwest, specifically Minnesota, so not Chicago and not Texas. I go to a public high school with about 2,000 other kids. I got into film maybe I think it was either sophomore or junior year, so I actually wasn't that big of a film enthusiast until I got into high school. And then in junior year, I realized that this was actually something that I'm very passionate about, and I kind of fueled that and wanted to develop a career in film. And so I applied to film schools my senior year, and I got into NYU. So I see a lot of these videos online with how I got into this school or just all these college reaction videos, and I used to binge watch them. So I kind of wanted to give my stats and tips on the NYU Film School application and some advice from someone whose dream school is NYU and really wanted to go there. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into the video. I'm gonna start out with stats. So NYU's application for film is split into two main parts. There's the general common app, everyone does application for any school if you go to Stern, if you go to anywhere. But there's also the TISHC application, which is more of the creative side of things. And so I'm gonna start with the general part of things, the common app part of things, give out my general stats. Okay, high school GPA when I was applying was a 3.95, and our school doesn't do weighted GPA, but I calculated it online and it was a 4.3-ish, and I have taken 6 APs and I'm taking 3 this year. I had a 1440 SAT that I actually didn't submit, and a 33 ACTs, and together combined they were a 34, and so I submitted both the 33s because I was actually better than my SAT score. I'm gonna move on to honors. So I actually didn't list 5 honors, I listed 4. Number 1 was the Scholastic Arts Gold Key Award, and then 2 Silver Key Awards. I put that as 1. Number 2, I had MNHSPA, Minnesota High School Press Association Best of Show Award for broadcast. Number 3 was All-State Violinist for 2 years. 4 was AP Scholar with distinction. So I didn't have very many national awards or international awards. I wasn't that kind of a student. I was just your, above average A student, which got me in. And I kind of wanted to touch on the fact that when you're applying to colleges, people think it's probably best to fill out all of the spots that you're given because you're only given so many spots. But I feel quality over quantity is probably better in this aspect, because you can list things that you were a part of, but if you only participated in them, what does it show about your commitment? You only do these things for a college application. Yeah, quality over quantity is definitely better when you're listing honors or extracurriculars. And speaking of extracurriculars, I'm gonna get into that. First extracurricular that I listed was badminton. I was a coach, and I was also a long-time player, almost 7 years, I think. Number 2 was my school's broadcast class. Number 3, I hosted a lot of Chinese New Year events and cultural events at the Mall of America, which is this crazy big mall, the first mall in America, I think, which is why it's called Mall of America. But I also did theater at my school. I did pit orchestra for a year, and then I was in cast for a year. And I also took promo photos that got published to local newspapers and stuff. But number 5 was J Club, which is Japanese club. I was president. Number 6, I was a first grade math. I'm still a first grade math teacher. It's my job. Number 7, violinist for orchestra. Number 8, I was an officer and treasurer of art club for 2 years. And then number 9, I put self-taught video editor, because if you didn't know, under my alias You're Me, I actually started editing back in like 2017, which is crazy because I was crazy young when I started, but we don't need to talk about that. So yeah, I have had experience with like editing before, and I kind of wanted to show NYU that since I was applying to Tisch. So now that I'm done with all the kind of statistical things, I'm gonna move on to the Common App personal statement. Discuss an event that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. I wrote about my grandma and how she shaped my life, and that's all I'm willing to give because it's a really personal essay. But I think that essay really spoke to me, and probably spoke to the admissions officers at NYU, because I can read like the first bit to you. Hold on, I can find it. Delicate white crystals fluttered down from the moonlit clouds. A blanket of snow crackled underneath my tiny feet with every step I took. At 6 a.m., there was no breakfast laid out for me. At 6 a.m., I groggily crawled towards my school bus stop. At 6 a.m., Grandma wasn't home. Every day, the same as always. I kind of started with conflict, and then I resolved it at the end, and, I was proud of it, and I think the admissions officer really saw my personality in that essay. And then for the NYU focused essay, I chose the choose your own quote prompt, so I chose a quote from a manga from Blue Period, and Yaguchi actually says this, and he says, "Maybe I'm not talented, but I'm risking everything for it now." And I thought that really applied to me because I recently only got into film in like high school, and I had never like had any means to produce anything before junior year, and so I was very late into the game already. But even though I wasn't talented, or even though I didn't have this like base that I could rely on, I was risking everything for it. My entire career is now staked on my life at NYU. But that kind of wraps it up for my general essay. So moving on, this is the second portion of this video, which is explaining the kind of film application. I'm gonna just kind of introduce it off the bat. There's 5 parts to the creative portfolio. There's the creative resume, the tell us a story, the set the scene, your selfie, and the general creative submission. I'm going to talk about the creative resume first because it's the first thing that I actually did. Kind of put it in this corner over here. I think this is like one of the things in my application that I was actually most proud of. Here's like a tip. Tisch can't actually see your Common App. They can't actually see the stuff that you've put on your general application, and so you can rewrite and you can restate as much as you want, and they encourage you to, especially for the resume. So a lot of the stuff that I put on my general application, I reused on my resume. Second thing, tell us a story. So this is a 3-page short story that you have to write based on an audio prompt and a visual prompt. So you're given 2 prompts and you have to come up with a story that's 3 pages long at the most. This was one of the last things that I did, which probably in hindsight was a bad idea. Do not procrastinate this one. I could have done way better looking back if I just had given myself more time, but sometimes I work well under stress, and I thought this would be fine for me to handle. God, it was not. Moving on to Set the Scene. Set the Scene is a 1-page kind of short story describing your first memorable film or TV viewing and how it impacts you and why you want to study filmmaking because of that. It's not supposed to be XYZ reasons. I'm guessing most people chose films like La La Land or like those really big like Oscar-winning, award-winning films. I chose Rapunzel. And then the your selfie, 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes. I suggest using all 2 minutes. And it's kind of like whatever isn't on your application that you want to show them, do that. And mine is up on my YouTube channel, so I'm gonna like put like usually there's like a thing that you can, whatever site it's on, but I'll link it in the description also. It's kind of just like a get to know you. Okay. It's just their kind of vibe check to see if you really fit on the campus. And I think they really like watching these. So try your hardest to make it like creative. Don't overdo it, but make it fun. Don't make it boring. Otherwise, that's the taste that they're gonna get from you. And then the last thing is the creative submission. You can choose between 3 choices, which is screenwriting, film, and art. Since I'm going into film, I decided I needed to make a short film. I think this part weighs probably the most in your application because it kind of like deems whether or not you are qualified-ish to learn more about film and actually pursue a career in film and stuff. And you don't need expensive gear. You can use your phone, you can use anything, and you don't need a crew of like 500 people working together to make like an Oscar-winning short film. I did just fine with a crew of 2 and a cast of 2 and my family's camera and my phone. It's really about the quality of the character, not about the quality of the piece. Because your camera quality can get better, but it takes skill and preparation to create a character of a story. They don't look for perfection for sure, because mine was not perfect at all. They looked for skills, they look for character, they look for storytelling. Looking back, I probably could have done a lot of things differently, and it would have helped me, and I would have done better, because a lot of my application was rushed and done at the last minute, which I'm not proud of. And so I have tips that I want to give you, because I think it would have helped me back when I was still applying to NYU. Number 1 tip: do not procrastinate. Don't do what I did and wait until the last day to do your entire written TISC portfolio. It stresses you out when it shouldn't, and it's just, the best things come to those who are prepared. Take time to polish those things that you kind of work on over time, because I did not, and I didn't like my end result. Number 2, be bold. I think NYU, they don't want to just see like this half-hearted work you kind of just push aside because you're not really passionate about this thing. They also don't need to see a super duper polished thing. They just want to see what you're capable of, because after all, you're going to be a student at their campus. So, number 3, show NYU why NYU. You don't need to write like XYZ about, oh, I like NYU and stuff like that. I think a very good thing for me was that I physically imagined myself standing on campus grounds and like how I would fit in with the environment and like the people and the classes and stuff like that. And then if you think that you belong on that campus, write about that. It's that feeling that you need to incorporate into the text more than just, oh, I like NYU because of its campus. I think everybody does. And then number 4, which is also one of the biggest tips of the day, is when you submit your application, there is nothing else to be done other than like check up on your actual missing supplementals things and like financial aid. If you do that, you'll be free from all the anxiety, like worrying, wishing, stuff like that, because it definitely did not help. And I definitely would have been fine just keeping calm and not talking about it until the actual D-Day came. And those are my tips, and that's kind of the end for the video. I hope this helps even a little bit, because I wanted to like help people looking to get into film and give my kind of like 2 cents on it. This is also the announcement of my new series, which is my first and probably only series, called Dear Minnesota, because I'm Midwestern girl moving to New York City, where I have never really touched the city before. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you all later. I hope this helped. Bye bye. Shoot me a message if you see this video. I will most likely respond. If I don't, I'm sorry. I'm really bad at responding to people. Yeah. My name is Uni, and peace out.